Hey, hunting family, you are tuning into the Tracks and Tackle podcast, brought to you by Mentzer Outdoors.
Hey folks, today we got a packed show with two special returning guests, Kris Buchman from 3B Outdoors and Matt Mentzer from Mentzer Outdoors. Both of them are returning guests and growing part of the Tracks and Tackle hunting family. Kris has been having some luck with the ducks and Matt's been chasing big bucks, so stick around for an exciting conversation about how their season's been going. Hey there, hunting family. It's time to give a shout out to a company that's been keeping our communities moving since 1995. I'm talking about Interstate Garage Doors. For nearly 3 decades, Interstate Garage Doors has been the go-to choice for comprehensive garage door services in South Central PA, as well as the surrounding Hagerstown, Maryland, and Martinsburg, West Virginia areas. And hey, they're not just experts in garage doors, they're also experts in giving back to the community, sponsoring podcasts like Tracks and Tackle. Are you ready to experience the Interstate difference for yourself? If so, here's a little something extra for our loyal podcast listeners. Use promo code Tracks and Tackle when you contact Interstate so they know you heard about them here. Just visit igdoors.com today to get an estimate or request service, or give them a call at 717-263-3150. Don't wait. Take the first step towards a smoother, more secure garage today. Hey there, hunting family. Welcome back to Tracks and Tackle. We got a great episode for you today. I'm going to be hanging out with two of my good hunting buddies. Kris Buchman from 3B Outdoors is going to be joining us, and Matt Mentzer, another member of the Mentzer clan, and pretty much a part of the team here as for the Mentzer Outdoors group. We are going to get together. We're going to share some stories as season is. Archery season's approaching an end. Probably will be over till we air this out. Have a great announcement that I want to bring up for everybody here on today's show. We've been teasing an announcement here that I want to lay out for you guys, and sort of want to just recap the things that have been going on here the past couple of weeks. We've been really busy hunting, archery season, pushing the rut. I did a solo episode just prefacing the rut and it being that sweet secret time of year. And then myself and the Hollywood Horse, we actually broke out the old gear, the old microphones and stuff, and we spent some time up at our camp recording prior to a 4-day hunt. So that episode just aired as well. And tonight we're going to be bringing on 2 guests, and we're going to be talking shop. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Kris Buchman for 3B Outdoors. Hey, Kris, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm great. I'm better than good is what I like to say.
Awesome.
So how's your season been going?
Duck season that we started was hot and heavy, dude. I mean, we got into some wood ducks pretty good. My son was able to get his first couple of wood ducks. He's getting real into. He's 14, and he's all about it, man. He's just all about it. And
saw some great pictures of successful hunts with you guys. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough. We got a nice little honey hole, private land. We're very fortunate to have, and it's a great place to take kids out for their first experiences. So he was able to go with us and got into it hot and heavy. And I realized that the wood ducks are my nemesis now, and I love them, but I hate them. And, we'll talk about it a little later too, but people don't realize they're tough. They're made to dive in the water. So I had a couple experiences this year where I stoned a couple, rolled them over, and I went to shoot another one, and the ones I thought were dead got up and flew away. It happened to me twice.
Yeah.
So, as fun as it is, you have those little frustrating moments, but you live and learn from it and move on to the next one. So,
yeah, I think it happens to all of us, and it's a sort of solidifies like who we are. And
Yeah.
I saw a post on X earlier today. Awesome post just talking about what hunting is, and I think probably resonates with a lot of our audience. I'll have to find it and repost it. Actually, I think I did repost it. But basically, it's when you're hunting, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs, and you're battling yourself and finding
Right.
out what you're testing yourself and what you're made of. And
Yeah.
so, it's a universal truth that I think all of us have experienced. And without further ado, another guy that I grew up hunting with and sort of has seen me cut my teeth on just learning how to hunt, being successful and being unsuccessful. My cousin Matt Mentzer has been on the show before. We're going to bring Matt onto the stage. And Matt, can you hear us? How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. How are you guys doing this evening? I'm as good as I get for a Tuesday evening.
So
Come
far,
on,
so
man.
good.
Well, I can think a lot of other things worse that I could be doing. So this isn't bad for me.
Yeah, there's a lot tougher operations we can be into right now than what we're doing.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, hey, brother, you sort of, I mean, we talked about this before on past episodes where you've joined us, but we cut our teeth on this stuff together, and you've seen specifically me, make mistakes, be successful, everything in between, and now
Yep.
we're, and vice versa. And now we're like seeing your kids get into it and seeing them have successes and frustrations and everything else like
Oh
that. I think
yeah,
it's something that all hunters experience, but it's cool whenever, like Kris said, he got to take the kids out and have some success. And Matt, I know you do the same thing. Have you into bow hunting, getting them prepped all summer long for this time of year. So
yeah. The kids hunting thing's been probably more rewarding than any other hunting I've done in my life. Easily far more rewarding than anything I've killed myself or you know of that nature. So, but yeah,
yep.
they're into archery big time. My daughters just are into target archery. They don't have any desire to be in the woods to hunt with the bow yet. I mean, they're realistic about, nah, we're probably not drawing enough weight. We're probably not ready for that yet, kind of thing. So they're still big into target archery. But my son, he's 16. He's headlong into it.
He's just like we were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Bass fishing was the best thing ever, and then he picked up a bow, and now I got a whole rack full of fishing rods here that, I mean, they don't even come out because he's shooting bow year round now, and it's
You might have opened a can of worms there because I owe Kris a bass fishing. We
Uh-oh.
said we were going to get together this summer and fish for some bass, and we never made that happen. So,
There's still time.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I guess there
I mean,
is,
the,
but
the fish are still in the water, man. They didn't leave.
famous
Good.
last words. Is there
Good.
fish in that pond?
Yeah, go do some ice fishing. Do some hard water fishing.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I know I've been teasing on social media and sort of been putting out there. We're going to be making an announcement. And the announcement is obviously Hollywood's not with us tonight. He's got some other stuff going on. He's dealing with some real life issues, and real life's always more important than anything else we do. He'll still be with us. He's going to continue to co-host, and frankly, I think that the episodes where he hosts and he's asking me questions, we probably get better numbers on people listening and stuff. But he'll still be with us. But because he's not able to be with us as often and on the nights from scheduling, Kris Buchman with 3B Outdoors is going to be stepping into a co-host role here with Tracks and Tackle, and we're going to sort of have a partnership between Mentzer Outdoors and 3B Outdoors coming together, and because we have this common interest, right? We advocate for getting outdoors. I say get outside, get the stink blown off of you.
Yeah.
We were sort of raised in that, all three of us here were raised in that vein. And So Kris is stepping up, and I've asked him to come on and sort of he's been on the show a few times, and you have the time, and
Yep.
so I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate and being willing to come on. And I know that you bring a wealth of experience and information, and you look at things maybe from a different perspective than I do. And so I'm really interested to the insights and the different takes that you'll have as
Yeah,
we walk this out.
absolutely, dude. Looking forward to it, man. It's an honor to be part of your tribe, bring our tribes together. So I'm
That's
into it.
it. That's it. You're part of the hunting family, and that's sort of like the way that it is with Matt and us. Matt and I grew up together. Um, we're pretty much glued at the hip, as youngsters and until our teenage years. And I grew up. I got married and moved to the next county over, and then and we spent I don't know maybe a decade and a half, 15 years where, he started a family and, I've got my family, and we might have lived 30 minutes apart, but we just didn't hang out anymore. And here recent we've reconnected, and we're fighting for time to hang out together and for our families to know one another and things like that. So um once you're on the show, you're part of the hunting family.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think you stopped at the house here one day, Ron, when you left your dad's, because I mean, I live next to I still live
Yep.
next to your dad, and my kids were like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "What? What do you mean you don't know who he is?"
Uh,
My son's 16, and my oldest daughter's 13, and then I got an 11-year-old, and they're like, "Who's he?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, you don't know who he is? Like, we're doing something wrong here.
Yeah.
We screwed up. Like, you got to know who he is, because that was a big part of my childhood." So,
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. And getting to know your family and the kids and stuff has been a blast. Like, um,
oh, they're a blast.
it's more fun. Like I don't have to live with them, so I get the fun part. You got to deal
Oh
with them
yeah.
full time, but love every one of them. Appreciate you just hanging out and shooting the bows with them, and hanging out at the pool. And you got to fight for time with one another. So that's what we're trying to do, and bring them into the hunting family. But so that's the big announcement. Kris is coming on. He's going to help co-host a little bit more, and we're going to talk
yeah.
more about that here in upcoming episodes. But without further ado, Kris, you got anything else you want to say about coming on the show more often?
No, just excited about it. I think we have a shared vision of, guys that don't know about 3B or that knows a little bit. Our whole goal is to like bring about that old school hunt camp, that old school hunt club camaraderie and feel. And we started as a bunch of friends that got together. Then it took off social media, and now in the last 4 or 5 years, I'm really bringing it back into like an actual club where guys are getting together. And it's a lot of guys our age. I'm not going to say how old that I know you are. I'm not sure how old your cousin is, but guys that are our age are getting back into it and trying to bring those traditions back. So it's really exciting to have this extension of all that with you guys and that shared vision again. It's really cool.
Right on. Right on. Well, Kris, why don't you get into, I said about coming on to this episode, we wanted to make this announcement. And so I want to start off with you, but
Okay.
I know that you've been out. We touched on duck season a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk ducks, because certainly I want to get out and
Yeah.
do a little bit of hunting with you here once the weather gets a little bit colder. It's been a little bit warm, but how's
Yeah.
this season been going? Maybe some memories, or you're hunting with your boys? Or
Yeah, the first they changed it a couple years ago, and I grew up in Maryland, and Maryland's a little different. I've been hunting in PA for the last 5 years, so they do the first early split. It's just a week long in October, and it was fast, hot, heavy, a lot of wood ducks. I didn't see the mallards and greenheads I wanted. We heard them a couple times at the spot we hunt at, but got into some wood ducks pretty heavy. Got a couple limits. Again, my son was able to get his first couple wood ducks, and they're fast, man. It's just really exciting for them to come in and they whistle and whiz by you. So that was really cool. But like you just said, you hit on the head. It's so warm. The birds aren't moving. And, it's all or nothing right now. I saw some reports today that they're starting to move a little bit, and there's a cold front pushing down. I did commit a cardinal sin today. Today was the first day of the regular duck season, and I had to work. There was no two ways about it. And I talked to my best buddy, my hunting partner, and he couldn't go either. And that was like a relief that he couldn't go. We were both sad, and
Can't give each other crap that way.
yeah, so I'm gonna go out tomorrow afternoon. I got a new spot again. I don't like to say the word blessed. I think it sounds kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It just sounds kind of hoity-toity. But I was fortunate enough to have another private farm that just opened up for us. That I think is going to have some really cool opportunities, and take my sons out. And then we have a lot of people that want to get into it, like you guys that just grew up deer hunting and just small game hunting, that want this opportunity. So I have 2 places now, and then we did win the blind at Cadorus, the state park here in York County. I did win a blind out there to hunt at that I'm going to use a lot in later season. But I'm looking forward to that. So duck season was cool, man. It was fast and frustrating at the same time. But you guys kind of said a couple minutes ago that sometimes the frustrating stuff and the mistakes, that's what you remember more. I remember deer I missed or deers, one of my first hunts, there was a nice buck came in. I was just a kid, and I put my foot back in the tree stand, and there was a little bit of crunchy ice in it, and it crunched, and the deer ran away. And that is, frame for frame burned into my brain to this day. That stuff that you remember is the frustrating stuff sometimes. So as frustrating as it is, you can look back and we laugh at, like you just said, and give each other a hard time about it and joke about it. So
it shapes us, and forms us into, even be better hunters, or a lot of people get frustrated and they might hang it up. But, persistence, I think, is key.
Yeah.
Because there's endless hours of time in the woods. And, when it comes to ducks, like there's just so much I don't know, but I want to learn. Like I always want to be a student of the land and, find somebody that can tell you more. I don't hunt in Potter County, PA anymore, but whenever I started, when I was about 12, we had an awesome lease in Potter County that was just, thousands of acres and excellent hunt. It was so good hunting. I didn't know how good it was as a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
My feet would get cold and I would get up and I would walk back to, we hunted out a camper. So we would go up and we would camp. And I didn't sit still long enough. And there were so many deer that I could have harvested, and they're deer that I could have killed, but I didn't because I didn't sit still.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you guys a quick story. I was with my dad, and we were walking an old logging road one time, and I had to go to the bathroom, right? So you're out in your 1,000 acres of woodland, you just sort of set the gun, you lean it up against a tree, and you go to the bathroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a bandana. I hunt with a bandana around my neck a lot of the time, like, the old cowboy movies, you got a bandana around your neck. So like I do that just to keep the air off my neck. And so I took a leak and I was finished with that. And I was fixing my bandana around my neck. And this massive, but like probably one of the biggest buck, even to this day, might have been like one of the biggest buck that I've ever seen or had an opportunity to encounter in the woods, comes up. And it, hits the brakes. It sees me standing there, and, it only split second to reach to grab your gun and pull it up. But, I wasn't quick enough. And we saw that deer like turn and burn. And to this day, my dad reminds me of that. Quit messing with your bandana, pay attention, sit still, quit worrying about what you look like.
Sure, that's what you were messing with, buddy.
Yeah. But it happens, right? And we learn from those mistakes, but those are the things that we give each other a hard time about too.
Yeah,
so
that makes it fun.
So Matt, you've been hunting up there. You're still hunting in Potter County, and
we actually got
hunting's
back to
usually
hunting
really good.
We just got back to hunting in Potter County. We actually went away from it for a while. Did a lot of hunting around home for the most part, but gotten we'll just call it crowded for lack of better terms.
Just like everything else, right? Too many hunters.
Well, you kill somebody hears about you killing a deer, and next thing they're in your pocket. And we've went up back to Potter County to the big woods, and we've been fortunate enough that we've actually acquired some private land up there we're hunting on. So we're hunting a mix of mountain ground and private up there now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm I'm honestly a little more smitten to the big woods mountain ground though over the private. Um, Hunting private there is I won't say it's almost a little harder than hunting private here because the people up there, they're not real, the local people aren't really deer hunters, especially archery.
Right.
Um, so they're not worried about. They're out walking their dogs through the woods, right there. They're right up there. Side by sides are like a car where we're at in Potter County. People drive their side by sides everywhere. I mean, you go to the store and there are side by sides in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So the people were just out and about. Well, they just take a cruise around the field. So you'll be in your tree stand, and it's nothing to have two or three of the neighbors cruise by you, while you're sitting there in a tree stand. And, they don't mean no ill will by it. It's just they're living their life while you're there enjoying the outdoors and doing some hunting. So I'm still a little more smitten to the big woods where I get back in there and it's me, my thoughts, and, a couple gray squirrels running around.
Yeah. Well, I think about like hunting down here and, you get the side by side going and, there's plenty of that down here, but that's going to push deer. And when you're in a community, probably like you have up in northern PA like that, it's like the deer on a farm, they're used to the sound of the tractor. And
Exactly.
so they're probably a little bit more used to it and they're not ready to like turn and burn out of the area completely. They're just on alert. They know somebody's in the area.
Well, I mean, there's actually a slate pit on the one farm that we have permission to hunt. And a local guy, local excavator up there, he's in and out with his dump truck hauling slate out of there all the time. And when he knows our truck's there, he'll be texting me. He'll be like, "Hey man, just seen a couple run across the field. They're coming your way." You know, so that stuff don't bother him. I mean, as a hunter, in the back of your mind, it bothers you because you're like, "Oh, they're gonna ruin the hunt." But them deer doesn't. They don't care because them people are doing that stuff every day. It's just another day to them deer.
Yeah, it's normal to them.
Yeah.
I'm similar. I'm in a similar spot like you. All right. So I'm in Western PA where I do a lot of my hunting. Because when we say local to you is the same as local to me. Like it's like you live right next to my dad. And so those are the areas that we grew up hunting. But whenever I go to camp, it's Western Pennsylvania. And we've got private land there that butts up against, state game lands, which is public land. And if I'm the only guy there, I can kill deer on that private land because they'll come in. But when everybody's up at camp, there's not enough private land to hold all of us.
Right.
And I'm finding myself more and more. I mean, I'm not the youngest guy, but I'm still one of the younger guys, I guess. I'm going out and I'm hunting public land. Like I just went and did a 4-day archery hunt and I hunted all 4 days on public land. But I'm going deep into the mountain to get to where I'm at. And you're seeing different bucks move through different areas, even on public. If you get deep enough, you just got to be willing to put the miles on your boots.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
So
that's for sure. I need one of them bikes like you got yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
That's the next investment. Honestly, I was actually a friend of mine was up. We were up 2 weeks ago now, I believe, and a friend of mine was up and stopped in, and he has a bike, and he's like, "Man, when are you getting a bike?" He's like, "We need to compare notes. We're already comparing our Onyx notes because
right,
he hunts some different areas than I hunt, but he's like, you need to get a bike, and you and I are gonna go ride and." Not only compare our notes, but we're going to look these areas over. You can show me some things, I can show you some things. Um, it's crazy to think, you drive a dirt road and you're driving at 25 mile an hour for half an hour. So you're in the middle of nowhere, legitimately like nowhere,
mm-hmm.
but you still need to get a mile from that truck to find the deer.
Yeah,
The deer still know that, like, even though you're in the middle of nowhere, you're still not far enough. The deer are still a mile from the truck. It doesn't
it's
matter
not
how
the
far
middle
you
of nowhere for them. That's
yeah,
their
it
living
doesn't matter
room.
how far you drive the truck. You still got to go farther, it seems like. So,
Well,
but
I
I
just
enjoy exploring up there, finding new stuff. That's the thing.
You need to get an e-bike. I'm telling you, because I mean, I didn't use mine as hard as I could have this year, and some of that has to do with the terrain where I'm hunting. But I just dropped probably, I don't know. I put 2 or 3 videos out over the summer about using the e-bike and the pros and the cons. But I did sort of like a end of summer recap video, and I just posted that this afternoon on the YouTube channel. And it's a game changer. When we talk about ATVs versus an electronic bike, like you can get into some places a lot more
Yeah.
stealthily. And so yeah, I'm still learning that aspect of trying to get in to those hard to reach spaces. But that's where you're going to find those bigger deer.
Yep, for sure.
Cool.
So you're I'll stick with you, Buck, on this. You have started saddle hunting this year.
Yes.
How's that fared out for you?
I haven't not been in a tree stand yet. I've left my summit climber has went it always goes. I never leave home without it.
Hmm.
But I have not been on a hunt where I didn't hunt the saddle yet.
So and the question that I would have, having not done that, is stamina.
No,
So
it's
how are you
you
doing?
know,
Like for like all day hunts, did you have to start out
so
short,
I
or
haven't I
you build
haven't
up
done
to it?
any all day hunts just because of the way we're hunting the ground we're hunting.
Hmm.
The private land we hunt, it's kind of broke up. It's not a good morning spot up there. So we'll go in the mountain in the morning, still come out for lunch, even though it's rut and everyone's like, oh, deer move during the day. Well, I readjust anyway. Um, Hunt a different spot in the afternoon. Not, I could probably do the whole day if I needed to.
Sure.
I haven't been in a situation where that was the goal yet. I mean, obviously, honestly, I think if I know I'm going in for the whole day, I'm probably going to take that climber. I mean, that's like carrying my easy chair into the woods. So,
I
that's
know
gonna
the
it's hard.
feeling.
If I know I'm going in there dark to dark, it's going to be hard to not take that. But just the lightweight, the ease of making a change, and the versatility of I haven't been in a place where I couldn't find a tree to get in yet. And I've been down into some trees that I'm not a little guy, so um, I've been in some 4-inch diameter birch trees that they were creaking and making some sounds, but we got through the hunt, and that was the only tree you were getting in, kind of thing. There
All right.
wasn't many other options. So I shot a buck in Ohio this year. Would have never been able to kill some of them deer if we weren't in a saddle and a fence row kind of thing.
So tell us about that experience, because that was early on. That was before archery in PA. You went out to Ohio, and we haven't had you on the podcast since that happened.
No. So yeah, we one of our distributors at work put together this trip for a couple clients. He's like, hey, I don't do golf, so we're gonna do something different. We're gonna go on a hunting trip. So he got a couple of us together. We went to Southwest Ohio, and essentially it was he went through an outfitter, but it was essentially a DIY. He got us a Airbnb. We cooked our own meals, but basically the only thing the outfitter did was say, here's some farms, go hunt them. you know he sent
Right.
us some coordinates on an Onyx map and said, here you go. So that's what we did.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I mean,
There was six
honestly.
of us, and we killed 3 bucks. um I think we could have killed more if guys were looking for, you know
Couldn't
everybody
hit you.
had everybody had the opportunity to kill. It wasn't,
It was
there
wet
was.
that week too, though, wasn't it?
Oh
Wasn't it
yeah,
raining?
that's when we had all the rain, and oh man,
Probably the last time we had rain in PA.
yeah, that's that 14 straight days of rain. Well, when that hurricane came up through and ravaged the South, well, our Airbnb actually didn't have any power for the first day and a half there,
Oh,
where we were at in South, because we were right over the Kentucky line in Ohio.
Hmm.
And they got hit actually fairly hard right there where we were at. So we spent a day and a half with no power at the beginning of the hunt, and you know some less than ideal conditions to archery hunt, especially in. But we made the best of it. You know, when you're 7.5 hours from home, what else you gonna do? Let's just go hunting. So
Yeah, that's
we went
cool.
hunting.
I drove through Ohio. I've never been hunting there. We went to Missouri a couple years ago and saw a lot of cool big dead deer there, but nothing.
It was a great experience. The deer hunting in Ohio, I wouldn't. I mean, I know someone out there is going to be like, "Oh, he's crazy." Deer hunting in Ohio is easy compared to deer hunting in Pennsylvania, where when I grew up hunting. You
Yeah,
know, you could dance around in a tree stand out there, and them deer didn't care. I mean, if you move, if you twitch your arm the wrong way here on the South Mountain, a buck 300 yards away just blew at you, and he's gone.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I
I
hunted.
definitely got away with things out there hunting that you wouldn't have got away with in Pennsylvania.
I hunted a lease in Ohio back 2018, 2019, a couple of years, back there in that time frame. And, we basically had a lease on a farm, and uh, the deer are there. It was
Oh yeah,
actually, it was an
yeah,
incredibly different experience than hunting the land that I hunt. And there are deer on the land that I hunt here in PA. But I mean, it was rare whenever I would go out and I wouldn't see deer. But it was whenever I hunt here, I'm hunting to fill, like, I'm filling tags, I'm filling freezer. I'm not necessarily trophy hunting. Like out there, I was a lot more picky on what I was hunting because I
Mhm.
knew that there was going to be another buck that would come through eventually.
right,
Give it a couple more hours, or tomorrow even. I'm going to have another opportunity.
right.
So
Yeah, I probably could have held out for something bigger than I ended up shooting, and I seen bigger than what I shot while I was there. Had encounters with some really, really good stuff. Um, but a couple years ago, I told myself if it comes out and it's got three across the top and both antlers, it's big enough for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
And for me that carries true. I don't care where I'm hunting. You know, um, the deer I shot, man, I was happy. I was happy. I'm proud of the deer I shot. I'm happy with it. That's what guys give me a hard time about it. I'm like, hey, everybody's hunt's different.
yeah,
yeah,
Not everybody's goal is 140 to 150-inch deer. The one guy that was out there with us, I mean, he flat out told us, he's like, hey, I'm not even gonna hook my release on the string unless that deer is 180 inches. But he killed. The man also showed us pictures of the 170 and the 180-inch deer that him and his daughter both killed last year.
yeah,
right.
So that's what he does. I mean, everybody's hunting is different.
And I've
You
talked to
know,
guys that, they said, like, all right, I've killed that 140, that 150, and okay, I've had that experience. I don't care anymore.
right.
You know what I mean?
Climb that
It,
mountain. Yeah,
yeah, like I've
yeah,
reached that summit, and I'm good with shooting scrub bucks for the rest of my life, and it doesn't matter.
that's kind of my mindset with stuff. Never I would pass up anything like that, but
Sure.
you know, and now I'll go back to it. Duck hunting changed my mind. All that, we're not out in the duck blind, not shooting ducks that aren't 3 years old. We're out there duck hunting. They fly and we're going to shoot them, right? And that was,
Right, right.
we eat deer. I'm not deer watching.
Yeah.
There to deer hunt. And there's ones, yes, I'm not going to shoot a spike unless it stands there for more than 30 seconds. But like,
Unless it dares me to,
yeah,
that's a dares me. Yeah,
Hey, do you
yeah,
see that? I'll have to find it and send it to you. See the meme? It's the guy saying, I only shoot a spike when I get a hankering and I just need to
yeah.
get warmed up.
Yeah, that's a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story about it. Years and years ago, Maryland does an early muzzleloader season. I'm not sure if Pennsylvania still does or ever did. It's in October. It's still warm, and I went out, and a little spike came out, and just would not leave. And I said, "Okay, I'm not going to shoot you, whatever." And it just would not leave. Just kept milling around. And I said, "Okay, if you walk this way, I'll think about it." Well, sure as anything, it walked where I said, and I said, "All right, buddy, you got 5 more minutes, then I'll think about it." And he just kept walking. And he turns broadside and just looks at me. And
Uh-huh.
I said, "Okay, buddy, you want it, you got it. Like we're having tacos tonight, But that's how I hunt. I'm not a trophy hunter at all. I'll shoot the biggest one I see. I'm the doe commander. I'm happy
Love
with
it.
big any doe. I sent you that sticker I was working on the other day. Taco Express. That's what me and my brother say when we get does down and stuff like that. So I just like being out. And I don't know if I said it on any of your shows before either, but like Steven Ranella, I'm not trying to be all about that guy, but he said a couple times on his shows, don't pass up the first day, which you would love to have the last day.
Yeah,
Exactly.
standards change later into the season, don't they?
And so that kind of always rung true with me, and especially now with deer, because I don't get as much time to deer hunt of my own volition, because I do duck hunt and do some other stuff. But I go out there, especially the first day of rifle season, firearms in Maryland. It's coming up. We fill the trucks that day, and we're going to go home with freezers and have spaghetti and tacos and chili,
Yeah. Well, I just had I was hunting this past week. Had a good buddy of mine. He took his nephew out on a youth. I guess Maryland had their youth season, their youth rifle season.
Yeah. Yep.
And took his nephew out, and he bagged himself a decent buck. Got it. But so he sends the snapshot, like, "Hey guys, this is how my morning's going."
Yeah.
I got his nephew there, got the rifle across the deer, and he's grip and grin with the antlers and stuff, and that's the trophy to me.
Yeah.
It's the smile on that kid's face.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't. Now that was a nice buck, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me what size that deer is. If I get a hard time for shooting. Now I'll shoot big deer, but I'll shoot small deer too.
Yeah.
Like if I'm hunting and I've only got so much time to hunt and I have so many tags, I want to fill those tags. And small deer taste good too. They taste better.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
but the smile on that kid's face is the real trophy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think most of us agree with that, but it might be a little bit different when you get into the Midwest or you get into the Western hunts where, they're looking at really big bucks.
Well,
it's not like that here.
When the average buck you're watching is 120-inch plus, it makes it easier to wait for
Right.
that 140-inch deer to come out. But when you're hunting an area where if you see it, everywhere I hunt, even in Potter County, if you see a good mature 8-point, that's a good buck. 110-inch deer, 120-inch deer, 120-inch deer is big.
Happy with it.
100 to 110-inch deer, that's the average deer you're going to see.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not, by no means, I'm not above shooting anything smaller, but I've got myself to the point where, and Ron knows me from way back. He knows that I'm not real particular about what I'm shooting, but I've got to the point now where I've killed enough deer in my life. 3 across the top's kind of my guideline. Obviously now if it's 3 across the top and it's they're well, probably I might let that one walk by, but I think some of that comes from having the kids too.
Well, you're setting an example
watching,
too, right?
well, I'm watching my kids. My daughter shot a spike I was sitting in the stand. She shot a spike opening day last year. And I wish I would have been recording that stuff because I can relive that 100 times over my head, just like we were talking earlier about your mistakes that you can see frame for frame.
Yeah.
I can see that moment in the stand frame for frame, and I could tell you the story frame for frame, but you can't appreciate it unless you were there and seen it in color, kind of thing.
So.
And if you'd have told me 2 years ago that she was going to be a hunter, I'd be like, yeah, no, that one ain't gonna
Didn't
hunt.
see it.
Yeah.
And she ended up she doubled up on opening day, filled all her tags, shot her spike buck, and then shot a doe. Before we ever got out of the stand.
Good.
So she was done filling her tags by like 7:30 or 8 o'clock on the first day last year.
This is easy, Dad.
Now that's the story now. She's like, yeah, well, just call me when they're gonna, let me know what time they're showing up, Dad. I'll be there to shoot them, kind of thing.
Let's go get breakfast sandwiches now, right?
Yeah. But yeah, hunting with my kids. Now my son, he's a little different. He's like Ron and I were, very independent. I don't need Dad to tell me how to do this. I can do it better. He's got a better plan, and whatever. I was that way once too, and I still interject my opinion and knowledge to him, and he can choose to listen or not listen. That's up to him.
That's funny.
We figure it out, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
we go our own way. We try it our way, and it's like the three of us are sitting here with a few years of experience, and we say, yeah, we learn from our mistakes, you know.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't have any, there's no 150, 140-inch deer on my wall at my house. But I don't know if we could even count the number of deer that have been through the freezer.
Right.
That
Right.
that that's we know how to kill deer,
Right.
just not necessarily the big deer. But we grew up different. We grew up hunting different too. As Ron and I, the last time I was on here with Ron, we talked about the deer drives, and
did a lot
we
of
grew up
driving.
we grew up hunting private land, but we were hunting farmland, private land, and we were shooting deer because that's what the farmers wanted.
Right.
They gave you permission to hunt there because they wanted X amount of deer killed because the deer were putting hurting on them.
Right.
Crop
So
damage and everything else.
Yeah.
yeah, so we weren't exactly counting points when they ran out to the end of the woodlot. We weren't exactly. Oh yeah, well that's only a 2.5-year-old buck. Yeah, he's an 8 point, but he's only 2.5 years old now. Then I'm gonna let him go. That's not how it worked.
Yeah.
Kris, I'll tell you a story. You know, because we did a lot of driving for deer, and we were the young guys getting started, and so we were the ones going into the briar patches. And we were pushing. We were the dogs,
Yeah.
and we had success. Like as a family, we had success every year. We would kill multiple
Yeah.
deer, and then at the end of the day or the end of the weekend, we would butcher, and so we'd process all of our meat together and stuff. And I remember we were young. We might have been too young. I don't know. I guess we were hunting. We were in the butcher shop at
I don't know. We
least.
spent a lot of time in the butcher shop before we could even hunt.
I
I do
remember
know.
one year the guys were all, we weren't working knives. We were that young that we weren't working knives, but we had the electric skillet out. And as the back straps were coming off of the
Yeah. Yeah.
deer and going onto the table, we were slicing them down, throw a little butter and, salt and season them up. And we were frying up the back straps, and we were
Yeah.
sharing it. We were having our share, but we were handing out to the guys that were in the family that were cutting up, and they were loving it.
Heck yeah.
Having somebody cook up them back straps while they were cutting up those deer. But
Right,
till the end of
right
the
up
night,
until they realized how much we really cooked up that night.
till the end when they went to find out how much they were going to put in the freezer, and there weren't many backstrap at all remaining.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
probably one of the best memories I had, of time in the butcher shop as a young guy, and sharing that with you guys. It's
I'll tell you.
those are the memories, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you
Yeah.
two things to add to that. Like my whole mentality outside of 3B, any of that stuff is, hunt for whatever you want to hunt for. If that's what
Right.
makes you get outside, do it, man. Go do that. My son that I talked about, and you'll hear me talk about a bunch. My oldest son, I have 5 kids. My oldest son is 14, going to be 15. He, like I said before, he's got the bug. He's into it. And he's really close with my dad. And my dad is like the deer hunting guy. He travels the country. He just got back from Missouri. He had 3
He got a
stints.
nice buck.
He did. And he to compound that, a side story is he just had 3 stints put in his heart in September. And he drove out to Missouri bow hunting and scored a nice buck. He said he saw a lot of bigger ones, but like you both just said, this one, he rattled it in, called it in, presented a shot, he took it. So that was really cool. But that's my dad. He's been all over the country, Canada, bow hunting, bears, deer. And him and my oldest boy are tight. So recently he said, I'd like to take him out for the junior youth day. And where I live, I know kind of, Ron, but I live real close to the Maryland line. I live, 10 minutes. I work in Maryland. And my dad said, I'm going to take him out. And that was a hard choice for me, because I wanted to take him, but it's like, okay, that's my dad's jam. I was with my grandfather for my first year.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rite of passage, right? So my son got a small little scrub buck, 3-point, really, nice body deer, but, little first year, getting excited, killed the doe. This year he had said, I'm shooting a big deer. And I said, you do your thing, buddy. And the first day of the youth season, he passed up 4 bucks. as a 14-year-old. And my dad goes, "Hey, listen, your dad would have shot the first doe that he saw, let alone passed up, any of those other ones." So he calls me. He spent the night at my dad's house, calls me at lunchtime. He said, "Yeah, Dad, I passed these bucks up." I said, "Presley, you hunt how you want. You have fun.
Right.
But I want you to know how much you love steak, how much you love tacos, and how much you love this or that." And lo and behold, he went out that evening, shot a real pretty 5-point, almost what you just described, Matt. 3 on the one side, really pretty little buck, and was just pleased as can be. But I had to remind him of that. Presley, we like the tacos, we like the steaks, and in September and August, in the summer months when we're not thinking about how many horns they have,
Right.
we want a pot of chili or whatever, So that was a
Yeah.
cool man.
Yeah. None of that. None of that is you're not thinking about any of that whenever it's July and you're getting into the freezer and getting out a pack of meat or whatever, right? So I'm glad that he had success, and that does show a lot of restraint for a young guy.
Yeah,
to pass up, but that's that speaks to his character.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. He's an old soul. He's a definition of that. He wants to hunt with me, and I've told him already, you can pass it up, but I'm not.
Right.
Like if we're sitting out there, I'm gonna go eat my lunch, and I'm shooting the first couple ones that walk by. So, but we're all about just having fun. You guys will get that from me pretty quick. So,
no doubt. So, the one thing I just want to follow up on when we were talking about hunting Ohio, Matt, you had said that you had gotten one of the guys that hit one, and you had to call in a drone
yes
guy, to track it to recover. And Kris, we need to get a drone guy on the show.
okay.
Like we need to find somebody that does
Well,
it.
I have the connection for the guy we used. He would probably come on for you, or would you?
Yeah, come back on.
I got his card and stuff, and
Yeah.
he's got his own YouTube channel and stuff going, and I see his stuff out there.
He does a great job actually on YouTube at that particular guy of documenting. All right, hey, we just got called by these guys in PA. They got to get out of town. Like he documents the whole thing really well. It's interesting.
I think Mike knows a guy too. Mike from Mountain and Marsh. He might have had a guy on the podcast. I don't know the laws for that in Pennsylvania.
That's why I want to get a guy that does drones, because I don't know either, and I'm very interested in this. I know that it's so new.
Yeah.
And they're worried about poaching and illegal hunts and stuff like that. But let's get somebody on that knows.
Yeah,
we
were in like a little gray area. One of the last days of goose season a couple years ago, and we didn't use it to hunt at all, but we had our spread up. And Lee, one of the guys that started 3B with me, he has a really nice drone. Nothing like what these commercial guys using, but just a nice play one. And we took a bunch of pictures and some videos. And somebody was like, "Hey, I don't know if I would post that because you can't use that, for stuff."
Right.
And I think you're 100% right. And we were done hunting. It was just a cool picture of us. And he got the swoop and shot. He came in and had the dog, and it was really cool. But I'm like, you know what? I think you're right. And I don't even know that. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even know that if we were hunting, we could have had that in our possession, to be honest with you, if it's one of those things,
I mean, it's a production tool, though, as far as capturing video, which is what we're all trying to do, right? We're trying to capture things, but the legalities of it change from state to state.
Right.
And PA has not, really just, I don't believe they've just opened the doors and said, go ahead and use this yet. I think they've been very hesitant to do that, and for good reason on some things. And so I just wanted to bring that up because
it's a cool
I find it very interesting.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt you. That guy you used, Matt, did he use like thermal stuff with his or material? So that's where it's heavy.
He had thermals and high def cameras on the drone both, and you get by here, Ron. I got a lot of footage from Ohio on an SD card for you that you can dissect and look at, and use some of it if you need to, use what you want to use. But I got a lot of video of that. My phone actually died, obviously, because it's the middle of the night too when we're doing it, when I was trying to capture everything we were doing. But he used the thermal to locate the deer, and when you're up there with that thermal, you could see multiple deer. Then once he was like, all right, there's a deer that looks like it's in the area, he kick on the high def camera with and it had a spotlight on it, and oh nope, that's not the right deer.
Yeah.
Back to the thermals. And once he did determine we found the deer, it was actually still alive at the time. He hovered on it for a little bit, and he said, hey, I got to get off of it now, because the deer's still alive. That's the state's deer, and I can't be sitting there with a spotlight on it. So
Yeah.
he marked the coordinates, and he's like, we'll have to come back in the morning. And he ended up coming back early the next morning. Then we went in, and it had expired within 40 yards of where we seen it that night.
Wow.
So I would have loved to had something like that this year. So I'm going to get into a story, and then after this, unless you guys got stories that you want to tell, we can get into the what's your bag segment. But what's in your bag? I had a target buck that I'm looking at on my cameras. Like there's a true wall hanger. I'll put the pictures up, but I mean,
I seen you sent me the pictures.
This guy's got like split tines. Like, I mean, he's a nice big 8, tall, wide, but his tines are split. And so I'm calling this buck like a split tine. He's not. I've got him triangulated. I've got him on 3 different cameras, but he's not coming out in daylight at all. And I got a doe early in October on the opening day. So I got meat in the freezer, and I didn't want to do a lot of hunting in October because I was going to hold out until I wanted to hunt the rut at the hunting camp, right? So I didn't want to burn my buck tag, basically. And so I didn't hunt a lot of October for fear of a decent buck walking out and me just saying, all right, I'm going to let him have it.
Reflexes taking over for fear of your reflexes, huh?
Yeah. So
there it is. Time to go.
It was November, whatever, the Saturday before the election. So it was like the first Saturday in November, right? And Brady and I go out. We're hunting this little farmette. Farmer wants the deer killed. I'm sitting there all night long. I really don't got to where that stand is. I've killed deer out of before. It's not big woods. It's kind of open field. It's not heavy cover. It's facing west. So when the sun's going down on an evening hunt, the sun's hitting you in the face. You're not hidden. You're not in the shadows. Like everything's set up wrong, but I've killed deer there before. And it's right before dark. And I get this, it had 3 up, and I know it had tines, right? It had nice 3 up on each side. So it's an 8 point, but it wasn't huge. It was just a little basket rack. And he comes in at about 50 yards, and he's just rubbing his forehead glands on everything, like just thrashing the briars and rubbing his scent on everything that and he keeps coming closer. And so what am I doing? I'm filming, right? So I got my Tacticam on my bow. I've got my cell phone because I'm not shooting this buck. It's not a giant buck, but it's a buck that any of us would be happy to shoot, right? So I'm filming it with my cell phone and the Tacticam at the same time. And he gets to probably about 30 yards, and I pull my cell phone down and I just send a text over to Brady. I'm like, hey, should I shoot this thing or not? And he's like, yeah, let him have it, So I sit there and I watch a little bit longer, and he just keeps coming closer. He gets to 21 yards, turns broadside, and that left leg, he sticks out. And he just gives me a shot. So I took the shot, and I hit him. I got Luminox on my arrows. I hit him, right there in that shoulder area, right where I wanted him to be. I saw him run out. The arrow didn't pass through. The arrow, I saw the Luminox run off with the deer, right? And so in archery, you never get after that deer right away. You're going to let him, I'm going to let him run out. I'm going to let him crash out, and then I'll check on him in about an hour. And I shot him maybe an hour before dark. Like it was light enough, but sun was starting to go down. Long story short, I'll try to keep this brief. It gets dark. I go out to the spot. I have it on video. I'm watching the replay. I don't see any blood where I shot this deer. And so now I know which way he went, and it's not a lot of woods before it hits field. So I start like tracking out where out to the field, and I run into another hunter with a headlamp. And he apparently there was another hunter on the same farm property. He said, "Yeah, I saw that deer run out of the woods with your luminoc in it and run across the field." So he helped us. Like we walked that edge of that field where that woods were, no blood, like nothing. And all I can think is that I hit that deer in the bone. You know what I mean? Like I didn't hit it behind the shoulder. I hit it in the shoulder, in the bone, and it ran off the property. So the field didn't have any crops in it, and I checked the field. We actually got Brady's dog and brought his dog back the next day, the morning, just to see if we could pick it up. But a drone would have been great in that situation, because there was no sign. I have video that I hit the deer. So like that's the sort of stuff like your anti-hunters or your people that don't hunt, they don't understand. It's, we want to keep it real. We want to tell real stories. Like it's not always like it is on Instagram where, we go out and we kill big deer all the time,
And
it
didn't go 20, and they fall over
right.
dead. It's not always that way.
That's the way it's supposed to work, but sometimes it doesn't. Because I did everything right, except for, maybe I was like 3 inches left on where I should have hit, behind the shoulder and into the shoulder. And, so I tracked it on Sunday morning. I did a little bit of walking in that field, and there was an edge row where there was a deer bedded down that I jumped up. And so I was able to go and ask the neighbor who owned that property if they'd let me walk back there, because I wanted to see if there was a pile of blood, my arrow, anything. And I think it was just a different deer. And that, long story short, is the deer got away. Like I was not able to harvest the deer. But like that's a kick in the pants, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you have a drone service or something like that, like you don't know if it would make a difference or not, but there are tools out there that help to recover. I guess what I'm saying is there's a case that can be made for the tools to recover those things.
There's a little more closure you would have, a little
that
bit.
happens more than what people even talk about.
The closure is a huge thing. The sleepless nights over not finding a deer.
I had something similar to me happen in rifle season. I had a bunch of different little things happen. I dropped my coat walking to the stand. I didn't want to wear it because I didn't want to sweat. Had to go back and find that. I shot a rifle that was my dad's. I gave my nephew my rifle, and my dad, and I was cleaning it, didn't put the magazine cartridge spring back in it. So I go to load the shell in it, clinks to the bottom of the thing. So I'm trying to fish it out, loaded like an old time gun. By the time I look up, here comes a real pretty buck, almost like what you're describing, but wide. Comes up on the hill, sun's up, quartering to me. Same thing you just said, sticks his front leg out. I put the sights on it, boom, he kicks up. I see blood splatter. I see it. He kicks like a mule. I didn't think he was going to go 20, all jokes aside. I found pieces of this deer's bones. And that thing ran for 2 miles up hills. And my dad said, and I agreed, if that thing is running up these hills like this, it's going to be.
He's not dying today, you know.
And it's frustrating, and I thought for sure. I did the same thing. I waited an hour. I said, that deer's going to be down the other side of this hill the way it kicked up. And I've never seen it. It was like a video game, pink mist, just up in the air.
Yeah.
I never.
It happens, it happens. And so like, I guess, just to say there are tools out there that can assist in the recovery. Like we owe it to the animal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my position. Yeah. I owe it to the animal to do everything that I can to try to recover it.
Then you got to think about this, it ran to people that we know, but just like you said, if you had something like that, it wouldn't disturb your neighbor's hunts. Even if they saw it in the air, you're not trudging through there with your dogs or just with your crew to find it.
Right.
You know, there's a case for it. I agree. That's something I never thought about until we just started talking about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's probably a side topic, but yeah, let's get a guy on with the drone guy. Buck, if you can get a hold of your guy and he wants to come on, like come back on the show with us and let's talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to get a panel and sort of, I know this sort of is at like a out of left field topic, but I'd love to.
That's
I'm always,
cool.
Well,
you know,
I think that's how it goes every time I'm on here. We kind of we go
Yeah.
down rabbit holes, and you know.
it's what it's about. It's all good. So what
So Chris,
so
Chris
go ahead.
mentioned some stuff I'm interested in now.
Go ahead,
Like I
buddy.
know we've been on here almost an hour, but so he's been talking ducks and this and that, but then he said geese.
Okay.
Man, so we hunted geese when I was younger,
Okay.
and now you're a man after one of my passions. Like I was very passionate about goose hunting, and we just lost our hunting. Like the farms we had to hunt them on, they dried up, and changed. The hunting dried up on a couple of them,
Okay.
and then a couple of the farms changed hands, and you know we then the guys we hunted with, some of us went their own way, blah blah blah. But
Okay.
man, goose hunting, that was some of the best times.
I got spot.
Waterfowl hunting in general.
Yeah.
It's not that being in the woods alone deer hunting ain't a good time, and you collect
Right.
your thoughts. But when you're in a blind, you're laying out in the field in a layout blind, and you're,
Yeah.
just BSing like we are right here,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and then you hear them.
Oh.
Everybody just gets quiet, back hunkers down in, and
Yep.
maybe you got a guy or two on the call. So,
Yeah.
um,
Landing gears coming down. I got
land,
spots. I
yeah,
got.
landing gears kicking out, and it's like, here we go,
Yeah.
you know.
This is no joke, dude. I got spots. You got me. You got my number. Text me. I'm trying to get Ron to come down. Just lucky enough, and again, I'm not bragging. I'm not trying to be, you know, pious or whatever you want to say. But I got a nice farm, and there's a guy sent me the other day of 30 big fat farm ones coming off of his pond. He's got this idyllic setup. It's a pond in the middle of 80 acres of fields.
Oh my, yeah.
And it's just, I was standing there in a red T-shirt the other day, and geese are trying to land over top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching.
Well,
So
my wife would really appreciate this, because there's a layout blind in the closet over here behind me that has never been in the field.
let's
It's
go,
not
bud.
being used.
Let's go.
We bought it. I bought it, and then that's when it's nobody's fault. It's life happens.
Yeah, life
You
gets in the
know,
way.
life gets in the way, and we had a group of guys, and with what you're doing with your hunting club and stuff, we had a group of guys that we were all in, and then everybody started having families, and
Yeah, work and
work, between work and families, it changes your outlook on a lot of things, and
yeah,
what you have time for. And now I'm sitting here with my kids, are they're not grown, they're still growing,
yeah,
but they're into hunting, but they're to the point where dad doesn't have to be there 24/7. Like,
right,
I got a teenage daughter and a preteen daughter. They don't want dad around. Like,
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
like, dad went hunting this weekend. Cool. You
yeah,
know, I'll give dad a hug when he gets home and tell him I missed him, but
yeah,
I'm not upset that dad wasn't here,
right,
kind of thing. And same thing with my boy. My boy just got his driver's license here the 1st of November. So, dad's not needed anymore. So,
yeah.
dad's ready to go out and do some of this stuff again.
Little
Well,
taste of
like,
freedom.
I think there's a whole case of black cloud shells in there, just
oh man, now you're
yearning
talking.
to head down range.
Yeah. Hey, listen, buddy. Late season, I got you guys. Just hit me up and tell me when you want to go. I got lots of time to leave at work. I got this place.
We're definitely hunting. We're definitely hunting late season. So
I'll segue
Yeah.
into another story. That's what you guys are talking is what we're about and what my club embodies. And I've been here a couple of times. We don't sell things. I'm not pushing videos, and I just want to bring people together. So we're going to talk about one of these farms I got doing a big goose hunt late season, and then having like a tailgate party afterwards where we cook out. We do that with a pheasant hunt every year. Part of my property in Maryland, my dad grows in CRP grass, and a friend of mine raises pheasants, and we take them out and take kids out, get their first ones. We take them out. Old timers that used to do it back in the day can go out, and we flush them in these fields, and it's as close to North Dakota or out west that you can get. It really is. I mean, even though they're farm raised pheasants, they move, they fly. The grass is 6-7 foot tall. We mow a couple shooting lanes, but we're out there pushing them. So I got one cool story to tell you, and it really just embodies what I try to do. So I started 3B almost 10 years ago, and it was 3 guys. And I think I've said it before, but the name is not this big, deep thing. It's all of our last names when we started with a B, so it was 3 of us and we started. It was myself, my last name is Buchman, my buddy Bolner, and a guy named Blaylock. And just like what you just said, Matt, time and tide and jobs changed, and my friend Blaylock just kind of got out of it. And it's been 5 or 6 years, and almost like what you said about being cousins too. He hit me up the other day and said, "Hey, I'd like to come to your pheasant hunt. If you got a spot, I'd like to bring my daughter." And I said, "Cool." And the last time I talked to this guy, his daughter was like 10. So mom's still thinking he's got this little girl. Well, she just turned 18. So she comes out with us, and just a great young lady. She was able to get her first pheasant. So what I'm trying to, my whole point with saying all this is the club and hunting in general. I was able to give my friend a first with his daughter. His daughter's 18 years to be an adult. There's not many firsts they're going to share anymore, if any.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Exactly.
a memory.
And they were able to share that. He filmed it. He was right there with her. I was right there with her. The rest of the guys in the group that are pushing birds and doing backup shots, hooting and hollering. I mean, it was like, it's just, you can't, and even it wasn't my kid. It's like one of the greatest things, and the smile on this guy's face. He said, "I couldn't give you $1 million and pay you enough for letting me experience this with you guys." So
what's the value? Yeah. What's the value on a memory?
Yeah.
Right.
Video it, and, going to get a nice mount. It ended up being a really, a lot of the farm raised ones don't always have pretty tails. This one had the long tail, like you see out west, pretty, just, you couldn't have set it up prettier. It was like something from a storybook. And again, give this guy who's, she's got a boyfriend or whatever, going, getting older, graduating high school, to have them have this bond together. It was cool, man. It was really cool. But then after all that, we hang out, we turn the music on, fire the grills up, and we have just a blast hanging out. So fast forward, I want to do that with a goose hunt late season. So you guys are welcome to come down. It's a guy's farm that I work with, and he's just a good old boy redneck, And he said, bring your friends. And he said, "Tell me what you want. This place is yours. You want me to cut trees down? We'll cut them down. You want me to take the bush hog out? We'll bush hog this whole thing." He said, "I want you guys to enjoy it as much as I do."
That's awesome.
I got spots. And then I told Ron, I mentioned earlier, well, I want a public blind at Cadorus. I haven't been up there yet, but you guys are welcome to come out there with me too. And that's a fun time out there. So
Yeah, we definitely need to get it on the schedule.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the waterfowl hunting is, it wasn't something that was, that we stuck with, I guess you would say. It kind of came and went just because of the area to hunt.
Right.
We never really got into the public land hunting it. So,
well, that's just as rewarding. I mean, like you guys said you said it's harder and getting deer. I mean, we public hunt in Maryland MPA for waterfowl. And when you do, I mean, there's nothing like a private farm or a private pond or a private stream, for that type of thing. But when we have success on these public places, you guys know this, it's a feeling of shooting a deer, a bear, whatever. It's just really,
oh yeah,
it's really cool. Plus, where we go, the Lake Cadorus, the water's down a little bit right now, but it's big water. It feels like you're on the bay, or it doesn't feel like you're around here when you go out there. And
it's probably the biggest body of water around here, for a little ways.
Yeah,
for a little ways. Yeah, probably one of the bigger ones for sure.
Yeah. A lot of fun out there.
So, Kris, why don't you take us through your segment with what's in the bag?
Okay. Yeah. So a couple years ago, we started just on Instagram, just tagging friends. We had a little viral thing that we started called "What's in Your Bag," and it was basically like a little go-to. I had some guys that were willing to fish in snakeheads, different things like that, and it was just to basically, what do you take with you? And you can be a deep thing. It can be, I take these lures. I had some friends that have snakehead lure companies, and they were pushing their product, but they had some cool stuff. Yeah. Or it can be sentimental stuff. Like for instance, when I duck hunt, I've kind of sized down. I just take a small bag with me now, and I take one of my uncle who passed away a couple years ago, was a big time waterfowler. He had the old time traditional camo face mask. In fact, I think it was for turkey hunting, but I always have that in my bag. I don't wear it. I always take it with me. I'm ruined to Yeti products, and because I take my kids, Always take a couple thermoses, and the coolest part's going to Turkey Hill or Sheets and getting chocolate milks or
Yeah.
hot chocolates. So we take those with us. I bought a couple years ago from AliExpress, which is like Temu or Temu, however you say it. I bought a little tiny monocular, about that big, and you're not going to spot mule deer out west
Right.
from
Right.
the ridge with it, but it fits on my duck lanyard, so I can throw that on my thing without carrying binoculars. I don't care if it gets wet. It was $4, and I can throw that up to look down the stream. So that's a couple things that I take with me. When I deer hunt, my mom still packs me my lunch the first day after Thanksgiving. She thinks it's cool. I'm 42 years old.
Jealous.
I have my own kids, but she still packs us a lunch.
Man, I gotta talk to my mom.
That's part of that tradition, right?
Yeah, tradition, stuff like that. And my dad pulls up, and it's like homeless guys at a soup line. We're like, "Where's mine? What'd she give us?" and stuff like that. So I always take that. I got a pair of binoculars that were my grandfather's, but I'm interested to see what you guys have. What are you guys taking with you when you go out? You got good luck stuff? Is there tools you want to push? Is there something that you like to take with you that's just, you don't leave home without? I know you said your tree earlier.
You want to go first, Buck, or do you want me to
I mean,
jump
yeah,
in here?
well, so this is a little odd for me because, growing up hunting the way we hunted, I didn't do a lot of stand hunting. We were always on the go. So I don't really carry. I don't have a bag. I don't carry. There's nothing that goes in. I'm like quite the minimalist anymore
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're
because
hunting with a
when
saddle now, so you're really
and I went
mobile.
to a saddle even to be less. So I mean, honestly, the one thing I don't ever leave without is the knife. I mean,
Yeah.
I carry two or three. I have at least two knives in every truck. I never go in the woods without a knife. That's just one of the things. Like, I gotta have a knife in my pocket. But other than a knife in my pocket and my license, I mean, my bag is very light, and most of the time I don't even have a bag. It's just
Yeah.
the bow or the gun, and we're going hunting, man.
All you
That's
need
Knife
is,
and a light.
yeah.
yeah, and I don't honestly, I don't even take a flashlight anymore. Um, I hunted with some guys that really got me on to, hey man, don't use the flashlight, don't use the flashlight, and I did it with them guys, and now the only flashlight that's with me is the flashlight on my phone,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I very rarely use it. I've learned to just get in and out in the dark and do my thing. Now I've been on the ground a couple times because trying to get out in the dark without a light, but for the most part, it's
How late do you sit? Like, do you let the sun go down, or do you get out like at dusk?
so my thing is, I know my limit, especially with the bow. I know my limitations.
Yeah.
Um, and when I get to a point where I don't think I can make an ethical shot anymore, if there's not deer that I can see that I'm worried about bumping, I'm headed out. So I might be out earlier. My son tells me I'm out way too early, but that's just me. Now, come rifle season, I'm that guy that has that scope that allows me to stretch it, and
Right.
I'll be there until I can't be there anymore.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But I'd look at it as the ethical side of it. If I don't feel that I can make a good shot
Sure.
on an animal, I'm coming out. There's no need to sit there and
All
be tempted to do something ain't right.
right. So I'm the opposite of a minimalist. All right. So I carry a book bag, backpack in with me when I go, especially archery hunting. Probably not so much in rifle, right? But um, in my bag, and because I try to self film, I'm carrying a ton of gear. Like, it's heavy. All right. And so I'm carrying camera arms. I'm carrying multiple cameras. I'm carrying, your knife. I got to walk a big distance to get into where I'm going. So I'm carrying different layers of clothing and stuff. It got to be too much. Like, it's like a 50-pound sack I feel like I'm carrying. And it's probably not, but it feels like it. And so this year I made two purchases this year to help with all of that. And I'll get to those. Like, one of the things I got myself a nice backpack so that if I'm a mile into the woods, last year we shot three deer, two nice buck, and a small doe between Brady and myself in rifle season, and it was a real pain to get them out, to drag them out from where we were at. And so I got myself a pack where I can pack out my animal now, right? So it's got the compartments, it's got the space. It's a bigger book bag than most, but it will hold everything that I need. It probably weighs as much as my smaller backpack did, but I'm ready to pack out an animal and not drag it if I have to. Okay. But and the other thing that I invested in was a really decent winter coat, right? Because I've always just layered up. I wear next to nothing when I go into the woods because I'm sweating till I get to my spot. And then I would just like slowly put on a long sleeve shirt, a thermal shirt, another vest, another jacket. But I invested in a really good hunting coat, something I can go up and I can sit in Saskatchewan and put this on wearing a t-shirt and the wind's not going to get through,
When do we leave for there?
Well, listen, if somebody wants to sponsor our hunts, we're willing to go. We're willing to travel.
Oh yeah.
We need to talk about that. Yeah.
We'll make it fun.
We'll make it entertaining for anybody that wants to watch. So anyway, I'm telling you about all this stuff that I carry in, but the thing, Kris, that I almost always have, all right, you got the basics. Like, I've got my camera gear, I've got my knife, I got a flashlight, right? I've always got that bandana I was telling you about. Like that's like, if there's a trademark thing that you see with me, it's usually that bandana. And if you catch me on film or whatever, and I'm not wearing a bandana, like it's an off day because I usually have something around my neck to keep my neck warm. And then for years, the past couple of years, I've been having a lot of success. I had this hat, and it's not like a wide brim floppy hat, but it goes all the way around. It's not like a ball cap or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's camouflage, and we just got some orange tape on it to make it legal to have orange on it and stuff. And Brady calls it a fedora. Now it's not a fedora, but you can find on my social page like the fedora. We started calling it the lucky fedora because every time I'd wear this hat, I'd see deer.
Yeah.
And actually, I haven't broke it out this year. It's too small for my head. I need to hand it down to one of these younger guys, but I might have to break it out in rifle season because that the fedora is something that I would always wear out, and the bandana is something that I always would wear out, and those are the fun things. I always have a sandwich packed, oatmeal cream pie.
that was from Little Debbie's.
That baggie that I pack my sandwich in is what I put the heart in after I kill the deer. So sometimes you're dragging your deer back. Depending on how far you're going, leaves are going to get up into that chest cavity or whatever. Like the heart, we save the heart. So that heart goes into a baggie and is kept separate and is kept clean. So just a couple of things that I use whenever I go out.
You're killing me with the snacks. I started the carnivore diet about 8 weeks ago, and I haven't had anything like that for 6 or 7 weeks, man. And
well, I wish I could get back on that. That's my problem. I was doing good on that, and I fell off the wagon.
Yeah. I'm doing
That's
pretty
the thing
good
about diets. They're hard to stick to. You need something that you can sustain.
Yeah, that's coming up. My mom always packs in our lunches for that first day. She knows I like Little Debbie brownies, and then my brother likes cake rolls. So there's that, and so I can't tell her no. I can't be like, Mom, don't give me this stuff.
Gotta be thankful, right?
Yeah. I was going to commend you on the hat. Did you have a brown hat like that you wear too sometimes?
So I just this summer I took a trip, took my wife. We went down to the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
And we took a week and just got ourselves a cabin out in the mountains and spent a week away, and which we needed. And so when we were down there, I got myself a nice new brown hat, felt, and it's nice and warm. So I'm wearing that a little bit this year. And
all about like the old school hats. I wear like an old school, it's called a Jones hat when I duck hunt. I'll take a picture of you guys, like one of the ones where it's kind of almost like a Robin Hood type hat. I'll wear one of those. And my brother wears one of the big, like furry eared, like floppy eared, you know,
The
and
bomber hats.
yeah, yep, stuff like that. So I'm all about the old school stuff like that. I'm into it. So
I don't think that I've posted any pictures with my new hat, but I'm sure that I've texted you guys a few.
yeah, I think you texted it. That's probably what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the hat is it, or and I've worn it on a couple of streams as well.
Yeah.
Where we've gotten in here and we've done the stream piece. So I'm just checking the Instagram real fast to see if I've got an example. I'll pull it up, but nah. I'll get it. We'll post some pictures
Yeah.
of me in my nice warm coat and my nice warm hat.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like those are the things that we take out with us, and you got to have it ready.
Yeah.
It's that time of year. Archery's wrapping up right now. Duck season's back in swing, or will be in December.
It started today, and then it'll
All right.
go. I have to check if it breaks again because I haven't looked at it, and my brain's been other places so far this year. Sometimes
Till we post this episode and publish it,
Yeah.
like we'll be deep into the season. It'll probably be rifle season by then.
You'll see some pictures of me and stuff like that. So
Awesome. Well, guys, listen, like I said, it's a weeknight. I don't want to keep us. We've been rapping for a while. I think we could probably sit here and just, talk hunting and outdoors and stuff for a while, which is why I wanted you guys to meet. I wanted to connect you guys. And, Kris, I appreciate you being willing to come on and co-host a little bit more. Buck, you got an open invite, brother. So anytime.
If you tell me when, and if the worst I'll tell you is no, I'm not available, or no, I can't.
Well, listen, we both might be busy now because I think him and I are going to start goose hunting. So you might have to find yourself another.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm going to have to negotiate your contracts.
Starting the 1st of January, if you don't use some vacation here, I'm going to have to use some vacation. So,
Yeah, Ron made a critical error with introducing these two people together.
No, I know exactly what I'm doing.
No, it's awesome.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He's going to get some more good content out of something. He knew what he was doing. But,
this is all part of Kris's vision to build the club and bring in different people, and he really does a great job at networking. I've met some awesome people through him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we're blood family, but like I talk about the hunting family all the time. Like really, the people that interact with us through the show, we're meeting all sorts of cool people, and like. Once you're in,
Ron, even we've met some people just shooting 3D. That I know you had Darren on the show here too. Just getting out and talking to people. It's incredible just meeting the people, like-minded people, and what you're doing, Kris, is awesome. And I've been telling Ron, it's part of the reason I started going back to Potter County was to try and give my kids that hunt and camp experience. We go to the cabin, which it's our cabin. It's my uncle and I have it together, so it's not like it's a hunting camp with a bunch of guys and stuff, but we turn it into hunting camp when it's hunting season.
Yeah, but you have that spot, and a lot of people don't have that anymore, brother. They don't.
No, it's in hunting season. It's hunting camp. Next summer it'll be ATV camp.
Yeah,
it's just what it is. But it's that getaway, and my kids are starting to appreciate that. They're like, hey. Dad doesn't make us go out and do chores after we're done hunting, or that's right. We go up here and we're hunting.
We have a rule, man. When we go out, that it's say what you want to say. What happens in the blind stays here. You can laugh. You can that stuff. And my second son, Tristan, he's getting real into it. He's 13. He's starting hunter safety now because in Pennsylvania you can do it online on that online thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get into it. He killed a pheasant with us the other year under some apprenticeship license, and he's experienced some stuff with us duck hunting that people pay thousands of dollars for. We have one of the spots that we have. There's literally, I know we're trying to go here, but there's literally a puddle on one farm, and we realized these ducks were landing in this puddle. So we set up next to this fence. We dressed in black like we're Delta Force. I'm
Right.
like Tim Kennedy, and we're just sitting against these fence posts. And these ducks, I'm not even funny, I'll send you guys a video, are just dumping in over our head. And we're shooting them, and they're landing feet from us. I mean, that's what people go to Arkansas and pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. And we drove 10 minutes away and then went to McDonald's and had Egg McMuffins. So he's getting into it, and my little girls think they're going to get into it. And my 3-year-old likes to watch deer hunting videos, but he gets upset because they're his friends when they get shot. So,
Well, he's 3,
Yeah. They like
we'll give him time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pumped to be a part of the team, though, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, man. Looking forward to it. We don't do like season 1, episode 7, or season 2, episode 3. Like, we've not done that. We're just like stacking episodes.
Okay.
But we're well into our 2nd year
Great.
of running the podcast, and the hunting family continues to grow.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we're out here, we're taking photos and we're taking videos, and we're trying to capture the moments to share. A lot of that you guys heard me talk about in the past, the hunting journal that we kept, which sort of like started the whole concept of, well, let's document what we're doing. I got a little something here brought home from the cabin. This is the very first hunting journal
That's really
that we
cool.
had at our camp.
That's really
And
cool.
I'm taking it and I'm transcribing, because it's, some of it's in pen, some of it's in pencil. Some of it's getting kind of old.
That's
So
cool.
I'm getting this onto a digital copy, so that it's typed up, it's legible, because you can't read our handwriting half the time.
Yeah.
Some of it was,
depending on-
no doubt, some of it was wrote with a carpenter's pencil too,
Yeah, probably.
because that's what somebody had in their ear that day.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk about what's in your bag. Something I didn't talk about. When I was a kid, no matter how big the deer was, my grandfather took a Polaroid picture of the deer. And I think I've shared that with you before, Ron, but he put it on the farm that he had. His office door was just full of Polaroids.
Yeah.
My wife got me a Polaroid camera for Christmas last year that I take out with us.
That's awesome.
Because so much stuff. I mean, how many, you guys are probably the same. And we put them on Instagram, or I print some out a year, but I have thousands of pictures on my phone, and they're just going to stay on my phone.
Yeah.
I'll forget about them. I'll scroll back through and be like, holy crap, I forgot about this.
It's like a scrapbook, like when we were kids, my mom took all those photos, put them in an album, and I've got it. Like, I've got like my childhood, and there's pictures of me and Buck, hanging out in the, with all the neighbor kids or whatever, mom will come out and take pictures or what, but I've got those photos of us.
Yeah, that's cool.
And, and we don't do that anymore, but that's how this thing started. Actually, the first couple of pages are pictures, and then writing in between the pictures.
That's
But when you go up to camp and it's a rainy day, and we run our electricity off a generator. We don't even have running water at our cabin. Like, we're very primitive.
Yeah.
You sit around and you reread this stuff.
That's really cool. Yeah. In fact, my dad was showing me some old Polaroids that they had, and they take a picture, and he had some really nice deer from the 80s that he killed. And back then you couldn't see the picture right away, right? It's not like your phone where you can take it again. You took a snapshot and then you went and cleaned the deer if it was whatever. Well, he's got these pictures, and he said to me time and time again, I wish these pictures were better. And I don't know why I never thought of it, but your phone will auto adjust it. So I took pictures of those Polaroids with my phone, and it auto adjusted them, and I printed them out for my dad like they're brand new. Really cool. Really cool.
I'm going to send you guys, before we wrap, I'm going to send you guys a text while we're talking about this. So talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I want to send you a picture.
Okay.
Let me see if I think I got it here. So you're talking about writing stuff out with the carpenter's pencil. How many of you remember filling out? It'll take a moment for the picture to go through. How many of you guys remember filling out a deer tag with the old core lock, the lead on the end of your bullet?
That's right. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a picture. That's that young guy we were talking about. He was filling out his tag. The guy I was telling you had the big smile on his face.
Yeah.
these are the things, you remember doing it when you were younger, and you pass that on to the next generation.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. It's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah. My son, I told you got a deer. I sent my dad his license, and he said, "What are you sending me this for?" I said, "In case he gets one and you have tags." He goes, "They don't do that anymore. You just call it in Maryland." And I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay. My bad. Like, I didn't know, So,
well, listen, guys, I'll wrap it here. I appreciate you both.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun, next chapter of Tracks and Tackle. I really believe, with Kris, you and Matt, as often as you're able to, join these type of conversations, I could just imagine, getting the three of us on with a guest.
Yeah.
And, and then getting Brady to come on, and, we can sort of start having some roundtables.
Yeah.
It's one thing to tell our stories. It's
Yeah.
another thing to interview somebody and bring them in to be amongst the hunting family.
I got some people. I got a big time raccoon hunter and houndsman that wants to come on with you guys. I know a fly fishing guide from the Shenandoah River that wants to come on.
Let's get it set up. Let's get the calendar going. Get the calendar invites. I think I got a guy lined up in December. He does a program in Michigan. It's like a collaborative hunting effort, and he's a real interesting guy to talk to. So we're gonna build. I was gonna say we're gonna build the schedule out.
Okay.
Let's get some firm dates on some of these guests and stuff. And Buck, we'll make sure you're on the invite, man. If you can join, come on.
Let me know. It's gonna get a little busier here for me. Ron knows this, but my boy's huge into wrestling.
Okay.
I mean, beyond hunting, wrestling is life.
Yeah.
So
like WWE wrestling or high school wrestling?
No, high school wrestling.
We grapple. Yeah, we grapple where we're from.
It's in the blood here. So, and he's got the bug pretty bad. But then my daughters will also start competitive archery. Here in December. We have practices a couple nights a week, so my schedule gets a little bit busy, but hey, give me the dates and we'll make time, and we'll get it figured out.
One of the guests that wants to come on is that kid that has that farm. He wants to come talk about farming and some of the trials and tribulations he has.
Love it.
Well, I do some of that too, and that's what that's why I'm not on here in the summertime, because I'm a glutton for punishment. I like to work, so
let's make it happen, Captain.
Yeah. Well, that's we'll get some geese on the ground too this winter. We got to make that happen. That's more important than getting work done.
No doubt at all.
There's a time and a place for all of it.
Yeah, you should do a mobile if you can do that in the field. One of the blinds I have, we could sit out there and just BS and laugh the whole time.
Well, yeah.
Let's see what we can do.
I'm essentially mobile right now because I'm doing this off a hotspot in my laptop, so we can make it work.
Okay. I have my daughter's teal iPad right now, so.
Well,
you guys are so cool.
It looks like you guys look professional. I got to do something about this light in my background. I don't know what it looks like on your screen, but it's driving me nuts.
We'll work with you on that. Yeah, we'll work with you on production. I can set you up, man.
You look like you're on Snapped or something like that, and you're trying to hide your identity. So it's all.
Well, there's some stuff in the background there behind my shoulders. I'm trying to keep from everybody seeing. Can't let the secrets of the reloading room out. So
I got you.
That's right.
Trade secrets back here.
And bingo.
That's at Mentzer Outdoors. Trade secrets. Can't let them slip. Listen, guys, appreciate you both. This has been a blast. I really, it makes it easy to sit here and, sort of carry on a conversation when you got a couple of guys like yourselves that, can carry a conversation like you do. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone out there that tunes in to this episode. We'll probably get you posted. Hopefully by the time this thing publishes, you're all having some luck out there in rifle season. So Pennsylvania bear season coming here next week. Hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving, and we will be checking in with you shortly. Be sure to give us a like, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening on. Push the program out. Tell a friend, because that helps us in the algorithms. It gets our name out there. and we really we're trying to build the brand here. So you can find us at Tracks and Tackle. You can find us at Mentzer Outdoors, and you can find us at 3B Outdoors as well. So until next time, guys, keep it light, take it light, and remember to stay wild. We'll catch you on the flip side.
See you guys.
See you guys.